streaming live on YouTube. Okay, this is going to be like animal rescue and rescue 911. Now that I've had time to charge my phone, it was like less than 20%. So when the fourth rescue 911 episode was over, I had to charge the phone. Okay, I don't think this animal rescue is on Justice Network. It's on Light TV.
The world's biggest stars and global newsmakers live on the Grio TV. News, movies, and some of the biggest names in entertainment. Black Culture Amplified. Watch The Grio, premiering Friday, January 15th in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The Grio. Our culture now. The world's biggest stars and global newsmakers in honor of Martin Luther News, movies, and some of watch The Grio. Our culture, the world's
Hey,
biggest
this
name.
is not animal rescue. I don't know why they labeled it that. Showing it.
On the Grio TV. The world's biggest stars and global newsmakers live on the Grio TV. News, movies, and some of the biggest names in entertainment. Black Culture Amplified. Watch The Grio, premiering Friday, January 15th in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The Grio. Our culture now.
Well, I'll just do animal rescue on Justice Network, True Crime Network.
Tonight, she's walking in that street, feel the moonlight, just something greater up her sleeve.
Animal Rescue Heroes coming up next on True Crime Network.
The following program contains actual video of real animal emergencies and is suitable for family viewing. Coming next, helping an injured camel. Plus, saving some winged creatures. And a home for injured sea turtles. This is Animal Rescue. Heroes. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Payne. We travel to a very rural section of Texas where you'll be amazed to discover a wide variety of rescued animals.
The name of our sanctuary is Buffalo Rome, a sanctuary. We started in 1993 as a drive-through park and very quickly learned that there was a greater need for sanctuary homes for these kind of animals than there was for public tours for children and adults as well. Currently, we have
Ooh, I love
approximately
tigers. They're
28
beautiful
large
animals.
cats. We have approximately 150 animals out in the pasture. I would say around 50 birds. We also have a camel, a dromedary camel. His name is Omar Gaddafi. He has been with us about 5 years now. He is a 10-year-old camel, and he came to us with bad feet. And fortunately for Omar, he found a good home. Okay, Omar, it's time. Melanie has your apples. Let's go. He came from Lubbock, Texas. He was used as a rider. He had extremely enlarged front feet. Now you can see how large his front feet are compared to his back feet. I don't know when the last time was that you saw normal camel feet, but neither of these are normal size. We brought him home and had our vet come out and look at him, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. We treated him for about 2 months. He couldn't walk except on his front knees. Otherwise, he was perfectly happy, except for the fact that he couldn't walk. He was in too much pain. We sent him to Texas A&M, which is our state veterinary school. They gave us a choice. We could either put him down or we could sever the nerves in all 4 feet. As a youngster, he obviously had frostbite and had the second and third phalanges amputated off the back feet, which threw his weight distribution off. His front feet were very enlarged and he was in severe pain. Since he was such a young camel, we chose to do the surgery, and they severed the nerves in all 4 feet, which means that he feels no pain. We have to keep Omar in a sandy area. They have a soft pad on the bottom of your foot. When he gets a pebble there or he gets a thorn, he gets an abscess. And so part of his daily ritual is antibiotics and treating his feet. And so this is part of his daily ritual. It has to be treated every day, hydrated first. Just a minute, buddy, just a minute. His foot is actually about 3 times the normal size camel's foot. It's treated daily with this betadine pack, and then it's wrapped. Betadine is an iodine solution that kills infection and helps fight the bacteria in there. And of course, the packing helps to keep that betadine down on top of the granulated area and in the abscess itself. The abscess has an opening at the top of his foot and on both sides. So it's very important that we let it heal from the inside out and also give him a cushion to keep as much dirt and other foreign matter out of his foot as much as we can. And as you can see, Omar loves apples. I don't know what we'd do if he didn't, because most camels would not allow you to do this kind of work on them. You can't help but love this camel. Most male camels are really not very nice guys, but Omar is an exception to that rule. He has a heart of gold, and he'd follow you around the world for an apple. Okay, good boy. Now you can see how beautiful he is. We think so anyway. He's a good boy. If we didn't do this, he would eventually have the abscess, the infection, work up through the bone into the main part of his body. And someday it may get to that point. But right now he has a healthy, happy outlook on life. He has nothing bothering him except his feet, and he doesn't even know that they bother him. So as long as we can keep him happy and reasonably healthy, that's what we're going to do. Phoebe is one of our buffalo here. She was a rescue as well. The name Buffalo Run Sanctuary actually started with the first 2 animals we took in were 2 buffalo, male and female, Josh and Ruby. And he was the light of my life, and so we named the place Buffalo Run. Bibi actually is a rescue because she was born with cataracts on both eyes. Bibi came to us at 3 days old because her mother would not take care of her, and the rancher couldn't bother with her either. All he had to do was send her to the meat market. So we took Bibi in. The cost of repairing cataracts is $1,750 per eye. And so instead of spending the money on that, we have paired Bibi with other animals that have taught her how to get around. She has fairly decent eyesight as far as shadows are concerned during the day. At nighttime, she's virtually blind. We are trying to raise money right now to do surgery on Bibi, at least one eye, so that she can see to get through the pasture by herself. She was raised with the eland, which are South African animals, the largest antelope in the world. She grunts like an eland. She talks eland. And then she discovered there was another animal out here that spoke her language, about a 400-pound pot-bellied pig named Sissy. Sissy was a rescue as well. She was about a 500-pound pig when we first got her. The people had her as a rescue themselves, and they didn't know what to feed her, so they were feeding her Twinkies and donuts and other things like that. She was so fast she could barely get around, and some neighborhood dogs attacked her. And the lady that had Sissy didn't know what to do with her, so she called us, and we took Sissy in. And she's become quite a surrogate mother, as a matter of fact. Bibi is convinced that Sissy is her mother and her confidant, and she drives Sissy crazy trying to sleep right next to her at night. It's a little difficult for Vivi to get down under a mesquite brush with Sissy. What you're about to see next you probably won't believe. We got a call about 2 years ago to rescue a Siberian female. When I talked to the lady on the phone, she said that I would also have to take the Siberian female's friend. Who is her friend, I said. A pound puppy named Fritz. So we took in Joy and Fritz. Joy and Fritz are both 6 years old. They came from Lockhart, Texas. Fritz was a pound puppy taken in from the Austin Pound. Joy is a Siberian Bengal Cross female. Fritz runs this show. Joy does exactly what Fritz says to do. Occasionally she is not too happy, and Fritz knows when to duck for cover. Ooh. Oh, I know it. I know it. I think it sort of gives humanity hope, doesn't it? We do all sorts of things out here to rescue. We do take in native whitetail, raccoons, rabbits. Occasionally we get calls on owls and other birds. We take in exotic hoofstock, eland, elk, red deer, potbelly pigs, goats, sheep, farmyard animals as well as exotics. Some of them do come in injured. Some of them actually have been taken pretty well care of. They have nutrition problems as youngsters, and so we have bone problems, hip dysplasia, joint problems, that sort of thing. But a number of them come in that have been very well cared for. They just don't know what to do with them when they weigh 600 pounds. I trust these animals, I respect these animals, and it's my life work, and I couldn't be happier. If I take my last breath right here, I couldn't complain.
Judy Savage is truly an animal rescue hero. Next, helping some injured winged friends.
If we didn't do this, many different complications would take place.
Let's see what we can build today.
Birth walls. It's in.
A free relief from Abbott was awaiting sentencing on federal firearms violations. Abbott has been on the run since July 3rd, 1992, and is believed to still be involved in the illegal trafficking of firearms. If you have any information about Raymond Abbott, call 1-877-926-8332.
At the Miami Museum of Science, a unique bird of prey center helps all types of injured winged creatures.
This is one of our cases. This is a peregrine falcon. This is a threatened species that arrived at the center quite a while ago. And at this time, we're going to bring him out of the cage so that we can medicate his feet. It's very important when you're trying to catch these birds, you're going to try to definitely protect yourselves with these gloves. They're very, very powerful talons. Bring the wings, cup the wings. These are very high-strung birds, and what we're going to do is before we medicate, we want to put the bird under anesthesia to minimize any stress on the animal. This is a very safe form of anesthesia where the birds can be put under very quickly, and after the procedure is done, they come back very quickly as well. This bird has what we call bumblefoot, which is an infection of the pads of the bottom of the feet. And many times it's primarily caused through husbandry problems within cages and outside perching. And what we need to do is we need to clean the feet daily to keep them as clean as possible. We want to try to get the infection under control as soon as possible. So we'll be treating it first, cleaning the pads, the betadine, and then we're going to be giving it some medications and placing the bandages back on. If we didn't do this, many different complications can take place. The infection will set in. There's antibiotics need to be given to the animal to control the infection. If that doesn't happen, then they can develop arthritis, and it's a very serious infection. In many cases, if this were to happen, you don't usually see it in the wild, but in captivity, they lose the ability to grab and they lose the ability to function, their feet to function properly. You can see the area where the infection has set in. Perfect situation here where this talon came into this area right there and the infection set in. So we're going to be cleaning it thoroughly and once again rebandaging it. When you keep an animal like this particular type of bird of prey that's very high strung, you want to try to prevent feather damage. There are other birds of prey like red-tailed hawks and red-shouldered hawks that will sit in the cage primarily very calm. So within all the different species, you want to try to treat that animal individually in terms of trying to make sure that you give them the best possible cage and cage requirements and to keep them as comfortable as possible. When a bird of prey arrives at the center, we try to resolve a puzzle. We're not too sure what has happened to the bird. In many cases, we depend on the public to bring these animals to us. They're the ones that have found the animal on the side of the road, perhaps, or taking a walk in one of the parks. So when the animal comes to us, one of the first things that we try to do is, number one, establish their weight, do a physical, try to determine if this animal has sustained any injuries, any fractures to the wing primarily. We take blood, and we're very fortunate here at the Miami Zoo of Science to be able to conduct blood work on these animals so that we can get immediate results. We can have a fairly good idea if the animals have been exposed to pesticides. From over 150 to 175 birds of prey that we see annually, we do depend on the public, and most of these animals have arrived here with the help of the public, and we definitely need their help. This falcon has a very good chance of being released back into the wild. He's very alert. He's very anxious to get out of this cage. It's a very rewarding experience to be able to help these animals, to be able to give them medical attention and hopefully release them back into the wild. And I think the staff all agrees that probably the most rewarding experience is to be able to release that bird back into the wild, and hopefully they'll continue on with their species.
That bird and many others have been treated and released back into the wild thanks to the efforts of those dedicated staff members at the Falcon Bachelor Bird of Prey Center. Next, attempting to save some sick sea turtles.
This one may never be released because he is virtually blind on both eyes.
Hey, I just got a text from my sister. You remember Rick, her neighbor?
Sure. He's a 76-year-old guy who still runs marathons, right?
Sadly, not anymore.
What? You mean...
Coverage used by the 19.
In Florida, sick and injured sea turtles are getting much needed help. Inside the Miami Sea Aquarium, this natural sea-like habitat, which is also a rehabilitation enclosure, is home to injured sea turtles recovering from various injuries. Sea turtles have inhabited the Earth's waters for millions of years, but today their very existence is at risk because of human threats, pollution, commercial fishing, and the disturbance of their nesting sites caused by residential development.
This is one of our sea turtle rehabilitation pools, and this is a hawksbill turtle, an endangered species that came in, and you can tell it's a hawksbill from its beak. It has the little hawksbill there, and you can also tell from the imbrication of its shell. You can see the shells kind of imbricate on each other as it's going down. As you can see, this hawksbill is doing incredibly well, has a lot of energy, has gained an incredible amount of weight, and as you can see, she's grown quite nicely, and she's almost at that length to be released. This one came in for being impacted. Unfortunately, someone threw some trash in the water as they're not supposed to, and of course any sea turtle will go ahead and eat it. So this one did come in for impaction, and it came in actually as a small hatchling. When she first came in, she was about that size. She would fit on the palm of our hand. So now we just keep her in a rehabilitating pool, and very soon, hopefully in the next month, we'll be able to set her free. This is Jessie, and Jessie actually came in for being hit by a propeller on a boat. The small white mark that you see on her back was a propeller wound, and she's also doing very well, and hopefully will be released within, she will probably take a little bit longer, maybe within the next 6 months. As you can tell, she's a bigger turtle because she's a loggerhead turtle. She's not a hawksbill. Hawksbill turtles tend to be smaller. This turtle will actually grow to be about 200 pounds. This is another rehabilitating turtle. Unfortunately, this one may never be released because she is virtually blind on both eyes. She came in as a small hatchling. The ants had gotten her eyes, and she virtually has no eyesight. She is a hybrid between probably a hawksbill turtle and a loggerhead. But as you can see, quite feisty, and she'll just probably live the rest of her years here at Miami Seaquarium. Okay, you can go back.
When the condition of these turtles has improved, they are moved here for the final stage of rehabilitation prior to their release into the wild. However, some turtles with more serious injuries will remain at the Seaquarium to live out the rest of their lives. Like this loggerhead, it sustained severe wounds to the flipper after getting tangled with fishing lines. But it's a good life here, and thanks to the dedicated Seaquarium staff, these endangered animals get a second chance to live. Animal Rescue returns right after this brief break.
Some things are good to know, like
Sure.
hope.
And no.
Remember, if you want to own a pet, it's a big responsibility. Caring for an animal includes proper feeding and providing for a comfortable living area. Also, it's always important to spay or neuter your animal. Think about the long-term care and commitment if you and your family want to truly be responsible pet owners. And that's this edition of Animal Rescue. Thanks for watching. Join us next time as we showcase those caring individuals who help the various creatures in the animal kingdom. I'm Alex Payne. On the next Animal Rescue, Heroes. Amazing rescues and extraordinary efforts. Watch compassionate individuals help animals in trouble. Learn about different critters and the dedicated people who care for them. Plus, animal safety tips and information on how to better care for your lovable pet. All this and much, much more next time on Animal Rescue, Heroes.
See, this is 911 on the Justice Network, True Crime Network. It's gun shop and ghastly baby. Store owner wounded in robbery. 4-year-old summons help for mother overcome by gas fumes.
Step out of the car, please. First responders jump into action. Rescue 911 next. This program contains true stories of rescues.
WFAA 8.3 Dallas,
Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happen.
Bill Heasley owned a small bait and tackle shop on the outskirts of Fresno, California. 6 days a week, he ran the register and waited on customers himself. Until the night of January 17th, 1989.
It appears that Bill was closing up. He was removing guns from the display counter and putting them in a gun case, which in turn he takes to the safe and locks them up in the safe. We located witnesses that observed 3 individuals pulling up in the pickup. At least 2 of the individuals we know went into the store, and obviously they were not going to leave a witness behind.
A call came into dispatcher Diane Barkis at 4:58 p.m.
911, what is the emergency?
I've been shot. This is Bill Big Tackle. My name's Bill Heasley. I'm at 4-0.
Okay, sir, now I know where you are, sir. Now, you've been shot by a robber or what?
Multiple times.
Now, Bill, where are you hit?
In the lower, in the stomach, and in leg, quickly.
I typed it into a computer-aided dispatch system, automatically getting officers on the way as my coworker punched into emergency medical teams, and they started to respond.
The fire department was immediately dispatched. EMT Steve Brown and paramedic Lori Stevens were already in the field.
When we heard the call come down, it was just to the east of us, less than a mile away. So I knew the next nearest ambulance was some distance away. And we immediately responded.
Okay, now, sir, we're going to get an ambulance and paramedics out there. We are sitting in as I'm talking to you. I need to know if you know of the suspect.
No, they were there. Hurry.
Okay, how many of them were there?
I don't know. 2, I think.
Okay, now we're going to get officers there right away. An unknown white male adult came to a residence after the call.
Sergeant Jeff Johnson happened to be nearby when the call was dispatched.
I could hear the units that were supposedly responding were just too far away. They're on the opposite side of the metropolitan area. I knew I was only less than a mile and a half, 2 miles from there. And so I told her I would go, and I picked up some speed.
Now I'm going to sit on the phone with you. You don't have to talk if you don't feel like it, okay? So try to take it real easy, okay?
I'm not going to make it.
No, yes, you are, sir. You are going to
I've
make
been
it.
shot about 6 times.
Okay.
One badly. I think my kidney's bleeding.
This is the FSO. I've got a man who's been shot.
EMS dispatcher Dan Lynch took over Bill's call.
What is your name? Bill Heasley. Okay, Bill. Where is your gunshot wound at? On the stomach. In the stomach. The right side, about 5 or 6 times the leg. Okay,
You could hear the pain, you can hear the fright in his voice of what just occurred to this man.
I just want you to rest tight. So you're breathing down. I'll stay on the phone with you, all right? Okay, we're on our way. Are you laying down? Yes. Okay, flat on your back. Put on the side. I want you to lay flat on your back. It'll help with the blood, okay? Put your leg up in the air. What's under your leg? The left leg and the right leg. That's what a shot. Okay, put something under your leg. I can't. Okay, bitch, we're on our way, so. It's harder for me to believe on my back. Okay, then you get comfortable on your side.
And as the call gradually progressed, you could hear his breathing grow more rapid and deeper, which is a sign of shock. This guy was on his way out.
The paramedics were the first to arrive, but they are not allowed to intervene on crime scenes without police protection.
I can't do Bill any good if I'm shot. I can't do him any good if I'm dead. We just pulled back across the street. If we had to get out of there quickly, we could.
They could only wait, helplessly, until police arrived.
I'm starting to feel cold. Okay. Good.
It was very disheartening to know that we had a unit that was sitting outside and we couldn't do anything to help this man right now.
When we continue.
Call my wife. Tell her to get the help.
When I was younger, my hair made me feel really beautiful. When my hair started to thin, it really made me feel old.
I first noticed hair loss after giving birth to my first daughter. It was really coming out pretty dramatically. I was feeling pretty hopeless, and then I decided to do something about it.
I went to my hairdresser and he told me about Viviscal. Once I started taking Viviscal, my hair is full, it's rich again. I love
And pick a 39
Every you.
Also,
Until the openly discussed it. Things happening in our culture.
Organizer and AARP the magazine free.
Call 1-800-876-2469 or go to joinaarp.org now.
With so many school shootings happening in our culture, it's more important than ever to be there for children. Pay attention to changes in your child's eating habits, sleeping habits, and personality. If you notice changes, inquire with them why. Openly discuss their fears and offer ideas on how to reduce their concerns. We cannot underestimate the impact school shootings are having on our children. So stay alert and be safe.
Bill Heasley was still lying on the floor with multiple gunshot wounds inflicted by armed robbers. The 911 dispatcher was his only link to help, as paramedics were forced to wait just outside the store until the police could arrive and secure the scene.
Just take it easy. Keep your breathing down a little bit. Also, call my wife. Tell her to get the help.
You in here? Yeah. It looked like there had been a war inside one small area, about 20 square feet. It didn't take but a few seconds for me to check the store and make sure nobody was there looking in the shadow, which would endanger Bill or me. And then my attention was drawn to Bill. And that's when the shock really hit, when I saw his condition. My first thought was, call the homicide team. Even though he was still breathing and everything else, that was one of the first things I did after the paramedics had came in the room. Let's go.
He was pale as a ghost. He felt like an old rag. I mean, he was just very, very cold and clammy. I started doing his vital signs. They were poor for him. His pressure was low, his pulse was up, his respirations were up. We finished checking for all the bullet wounds, so we knew what kind of time we were working against, what was bleeding. We got him in the mask pants and we lifted him out of there, just to get him out of there. We didn't even spend time to pump him up inside the scene. We just pulled him out to where we had room to work on him. Got him loaded and we got him in the unit.
They headed to Valley Medical Center, where the trauma team was notified to prepare for Bill's arrival.
It's got trauma.
Valley Medical Center, this is a 1057. We have a transport center with a 39-year-old male victim of multiple gunshots. The last count we had was close to 7 to 9, I believe.
He just knew he was going to die. He knew he wasn't going to make it. Just tell my wife I love her, please. You've got to tell my wife I love her. And I said, okay, Bill, I promise. What's the number? So he gave me the number, and I repeated the number. He says, yes. I said, Bill, I'll tell her, I promise. He says, okay. And I think a little bit of calmness came over.
The ambulance arrived at the emergency room within 10 minutes. On duty that night was Dr. Gene Carlson.
Anyone with that many holes in him is in dire straits. In Bill's case, we know that when the paramedics got to him, he already was in significant shock, that he had lost a fair amount of blood, probably a quarter of his blood supply. So we know from that by the time he gets to us, he may have lost a lot more than that.
Entrance wound here, the right upper quadrant, rolling over this way.
There were multiple wounds on the legs and and one major wound in the upper abdomen that we were most concerned about. We knew from the location of that wound that some large vascular structures like the liver, kidney, and possibly other things could well have been hit.
Bill Heasley was hit by at least 7 bullets. As he was rushed into surgery, paramedic Lori Stevens went to keep her promise.
That phone call was awful. I go, Bill wants me to tell you that he loves you. And tell the kids that he loves them too.
I relived many, many times in my mind what it may have been like for him. To me, when he said in the tape that he loved me, means more to me than anything he's ever given to me.
Doctors worked on Bill for 3 hours to try to save his life. With 5 bullets still inside him, Bill has survived.
I'm not a person that's been afraid to die. What concerned me more than anything was, of course, that I would not be with my wife or my children. And that's really the only thing that I was thinking about at the end, that I would miss them if I did die.
He's my world. I love Bill very much. He's made my life very happy. It scares me to think that I may not have married him. I came close to not marrying him.
I think what kept him alive was his will to live. I really love my dad a whole lot. I'm really glad he's around.
The suspects involved in the shooting incident were arrested within a week and were subsequently convicted and sent to prison. Next.
She said she had a real bad headache and that she was sleeping. This was unusual because she always feels pretty good.
Mom, wake up. Mom, please wake up. Please.
To lose batteries, even find one.
30 p.m., leaving 4-year-old Kurt.
When Ricky Folks went to work on the night of July 9th, 1990, he had no reason to be worried about leaving his wife and children alone in their home in Sherman, Texas.
We ate, and I gave my wife a kiss goodnight.
Ricky Folks left for work around 6:30 p.m., leaving 4-year-old Kurt and his younger sister Kristen in the care of their mother, Paul.
She always goes in and cleans the kitchen after I leave. The kids were making a lot of noise, so my wife had them go in their bedroom and close the door, and they could play as loud as they wanted to then. I called her about 8:30 and asked her what was going on and stuff. I always call her at night and see how things are going. She said she had a real bad headache and that she was sleepy. And this was unusual because she always feels pretty good.
Around 9 p.m., Kurt came out of his room.
Mom, wake up. Mom, wake up. What's up in the brain? Wake up. I'll probably wake her up. She won't wake up. Mom, what's up in the brain? Please wake up. Please. Mom.
2 miles away, Wanda Knight got Kurt's call.
Hello? I didn't recognize the voice at first. He kept saying his name, but he said it real fast. When he kept talking about his mom, he couldn't wake up his mom. I thought maybe he thought he was calling someone else, you know. And so I thought, well, maybe I should listen to what he had to say for a second. Oh, Kurt. My number was pre-programmed on Polly's phone. She had told me that she had pointed out to Kurt the day before what to do in case of an emergency, and she told him that if he needed somebody to call us. And so I said, well, do you want me to come over and check on her? And he said, yeah. So I said, okay, I'll be there as soon as I can. maybe she was sick or something, or just asleep, and he probably wasn't shaking her hard enough. I thought maybe he's exaggerating or something like that. I really expected Polly to answer the door when I got there.
Wanda arrived at the Fultz house within a few minutes.
Polly? Polly? I'm supposed to open the door for people what I don't know. Kurt, you called me now, remember? Kurt, open the door. Need one. Kurt? It's okay now.
When I went in and saw her laying on the couch, then I began to get concerned.
Polly, wake up.
Kurt was kind of teary-eyed. It was startling to him that his mom wouldn't wake up. When I picked up her hand and it was so limp, I thought that was real strange. I realized that maybe I need some help here.
Paramedics from a nearby fire station were immediately dispatched, along with an ambulance from 5 miles farther away.
They were there for just minutes. I mean, it was